Hello and welcome back to Bedrock Survival. I hope you're all well. I've just found some diamonds in a very big hole. This is going to be the site of my quad iron farm, but not today. I was actually quite lucky to find these, as I've decided to take this out further than a chunk in this direction. If I hadn't have done that, I'd have completely missed these. So, see how many we get. 13, not too bad. So I was just heading back to the base over there, and I saw all these mushrooms spawn in front of me, so I thought I'd try to show you a little bit of what I was talking about last episode, where all the mobs just spawn just outside the ticking area. So you can see there's plenty of mushrooms about over there, and I've still got skelly horses about everywhere. Just look at them all. And I bet if we go into the water, yeah, there's one already. You're no, not a baby. Just look at all these drowned. They're everywhere, and look, loads of squid and dolphins. And I'm drowning a bit, but yeah, this is what I sort of have to put up with every time I try to get outside of the island a bit. Just hundreds of drowned everywhere. So sometime in the what are you doing out there? Sometime in the future, I'm going to light all this up. I want a conduit in this little bit of a bay. Well, actually, I want a ring of conduits all the way around the island, so I can light it all up and do a bit of underwater caving without having to worry about breathing too much. But yeah, plenty of mobs outside the ticking area. So we're back in the basement now. As you can see, I've not tidied it up at all. I want to crack on and do the kelp farm and the super smelter today. I kind of feel that I talk too much maybe at the beginning of the videos. I think the last couple were like 15 minutes of talking and showing you around, and then like less than 10 minutes of doing some actual work. So I'm trying to keep the talking down to a minimum, but you'll have to let me know if you like the talking, or if you agree that it goes on for a little bit too long. Just let me know. Thank you, Mr. Mushroom. Just let me know, and because I'm still learning, really, I'm still trying to figure all this out. So if you let me know what you prefer, then I can sort of work around that and hopefully get better. But having said that, before I do start this super smelter and kelp farm, I want to jump into a creative world to show you the design, because it's a little bit different. So we're here in my little creative test world. You might recognise a few things over there. This is the design for the kelp farm. So if you remember, when kelp was first introduced, it would grow up into flowing water, and then that flowing water would break the kelp. We had all these nice automatic kelp farms. They were like really OP, but then they broke it in an update. This was sort of my first attempt to counter that, and as you can see, actually I'll break that away, I think it should still work. Yeah, so as you can see, we've got an observer looking at that air block, and what happens is every time the kelp grows, it creates a water source there, and then the flowing water goes across the observer, and then the observer will detect that. So I'll just show you that. Sometimes it double pulses because it detects the water like flowing away as well. Ignore that. This farm does actually work. It's just because I've took the glass away. I'll show you again. If I fill it back up, come around here. So this is actually quite a nice nano farm, but I was thinking I want to expand it and make it a one chunk farm. I've done some experimenting in another world which I won't show you, but I managed to get quite a lot of kelp growing inside the one chunk area, and it's pretty efficient as well, so I'm quite excited to build it and show you. So what I'll do is I'll get back and start laying out some foundations, and then I'll bring you back when I've got something to show you. Okay, so I've laid down the groundwork for this. The design is an adaptation of my old kelp farm design from before the changes to how kelp grew. Back then you could actually fit each module closer together, so you only needed the one gap for the water streams, but now because the water flows over now when it makes a source block, so we need a little bit more room. But this design, you almost saw it before the update, before the changes. I literally finished making the video, and the same week I was going to release it, they updated how kelp grew and made the source blocks. So I was a little bit disappointed. It was quite an efficient little farm. It took up very little space. I mean, as I said before, you could get these closer together. You could get 3 of these in a chunk, and then you could obviously stack it up as well. And it was a beast. It produced a lot of kelp. So a little bit upset that didn't get to be seen anywhere. But I've adapted it now. As I showed you earlier, I'll use observers to detect when the flowing water turns into a source block, and then we'll use pistons to effectively remove the source block, which means that all the kelp can just be planted along here, and they'll only ever be 1 block tall. As soon as they create a water source, the pistons will push them down again. So I'm hoping this will be fairly efficient. I'm also thinking about doing another layer, because there is room, I do believe, up to there. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I should have plenty enough room to do another layer as well. So I'll crack on, do some redstone and stuff and planting. So I'm just about done with the redstone behind there. So redstone is pretty simple. We've just got some observers which will face into an air block with pistons behind it. So whenever a piece of kelp grows, it'll create a source block directly under the pistons, which flows out across the observers, which will detect the change, and then the piston will fire and break the kelp and destroy the water source. Now I've had to modify it a little bit, so when one observer fires, the whole row of pistons will come down. That's because I found that if I was doing one at a time, just one piston coming down, it wouldn't always break the water source. Not sure why. It should, but it wasn't, so I've changed it up a bit. But I'll show you. All the items come down there into water streams. If I just quickly throw a few bits down, they get carried off into this redstone-less water elevator. You should see them coming up. There they go. And then I've just got a tiny bit of bulk storage. I'm just going to back it up a bit before I put the furnace array here. I'm probably going to have 8 furnaces, I think. That should be enough. But those items, they've all come through now. But I'll just quickly show you how to place all the water and the kelp. So grab that and that. Have I got any kelp anywhere? Got any left? Yes, luckily. Just take that for now. So you'd place a water source there and plant the kelp, and then you put a water source on top, and that flows over, and if I can get through, goes onto the other side as well, so you'd have a kelp that side as well. Can I just do that? No, I'll grab some bone meal. Do that. Make some of that. And we'll give that a try. There you go. It works fine. It's acting a bit funny at the minute because I've not got all the water sources in, and this needs some glass across it, but once all that's in, it'll work fine. But if I throw some of these in there, you should see them all coming out any second now. Yeah, there you go. So that's all working nicely. I'll finish it all off and get decorating, and I'll bring you back later. Okay, and I'm back. Got it all decorated up. I've made it slightly different to the outside walls. Get a bit of variation. If you get up closer. Not super happy about the purple water, but I can't do anything about it. I'm in a mushroom biome, so I'm gonna have to put up with it. But it's all working quite well. I've got the furnace hooked up, and that's all working. I've backed up the kelp a little bit. I went off, did some fishing and some mining while it backed up, but it seems to be working quite well. I'm not sure if I need the top layer done or not. I'm going to run with this for a bit and see if it keeps up with my needs, but I don't really need to smelt too much up at the moment, so I'm hoping it'll be okay. I've also built my own furnace as well for any items that I might need, so it's nothing special, it's just a little bit of a furnace. Let's get rid of that. But I can show you it working. Yeah, I did a feed tape. It had to be done. It was a bit of a struggle to get it in. There's not a great deal of room behind there, and you can see some of the redstone is actually visible there, but it's not too bad. It does its job. So I'll get around the back of there and talk you through some of the stuff. I've been growing some pumpkins as well. I was basically using this farm more as a seed farm, so I can get it all planted up and fill the villagers up, fill their inventory up with seeds. So I've got plenty of seeds and stuff going on there. So I started growing a few pumpkins. Oh, if you come round here, I'll talk you through this one last. So you saw all the storage and everything. This is backed up. I think I've got a couple chests, but I've locked it at the minute. You come down here. I've got the 8 furnace array, and it's a super smelter with the lock-in hoppers. And then the items, when they're smelted up, they'll come down there into a dispenser, which is facing up into the soul sand, and that dispenses it up into the storage, which is there at the moment. I've got a little crafting bench there. That's the fuel input for that furnace array. When the bamboo comes out, I'm going to upgrade that to bamboo fuel. Maybe bring it over the top of the kelp farm. But yeah, this is the piston feed tape furnace array. If I take that for a minute. It's like I said, it's quite compact, and some of the redstone's a little bit convoluted, but it works and it's in. So you see the two lines of furnaces are next to each other there, so it's quite compact. If I put the torch back on, too lazy to go into the inventory. There. So each pair of pistons is powered by just the one observer there, so that'll detect a furnace coming across and then come round, power that one first, and then after 2 ticks we'll power that one. And it's the same on the other side, but the other way around. It powers the front one first and then the back one. It's locked at the minute because of this, but I'll talk you through it. So that's the input for the smeltable items. So when items are going through, the comparator gets powered and it turns off these torches. So this torch, when that turns off, will unlock those 2 pistons so that the feed tape can work. And then this torch comes round, it will unlock the fuel hoppers. So fuel only gets put in when there are items going in as well, and that comes round into the dropper hopper monostable, which sends a quick pulse which just fires this piston off just to start the feed tape, and that'll start going round. So it all works quite nicely. It distributes everything evenly as far as I can tell. So not too bad. So I've been a little bit silly. Actually meant to turn this back on when I was showing you around, but I kind of forgot. So I've turned it on, I've left it running for a couple of minutes, and I thought I'd bring you back and show you. I mean, you pretty know what it is anyway, it's a furnace, but yeah, it's all working quite evenly. And the main thing I wanted to show you was the dispenser. So the dispenser's pointing straight into that soul sand, and as you can see, it's dispensing items through that block. It's not something I see a lot of people talking about or doing on Bedrock, but I'm pretty sure people must know about it. But I just thought I'd show you that you can dispense it into a solid block and it'll go through. You have to encase it in solid blocks as well, which, you know, that's the same as Java, but I just thought I'd let you know that that works, if just in case you didn't know. That's good. One more thing before I sign off. I realise this video's slightly shorter than the others. Now, I have been busy in real life, so that's cut down my recording time a little bit, but also possibly all the talking beforehand, because I haven't done any of that. I think that's made the video a little bit shorter than I was expecting. So I think I'll show you what I've been doing outside when I've slept. So I've been doing a bit of terraforming, and when I say that, I'm using the term quite loosely. You'll see in a minute. I've basically, I'll show you this in a minute as well. I've basically knocked the land flat. I've dug it all down to Y level 70 and then built a platform a few blocks above it. As you can see, that's killing off the mycelium underneath here. For the moment, I've just marked out the ticking area and built that platform up. You can see it's looking lovely and green now. What I will do is extend it out to all the other areas and then do some actual proper terraforming to make it match up with the coastline a bit. I've been using this as my new tree growing area. One thing I was worried about, which doesn't seem to be an issue, is some of these corners overhang into the ocean. Not that one. There's one over the back there, and I was worried that mobs could spawn on there. I've been keeping an eye on it at night time, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. So if we come out here, Yeah, this one hangs out onto the ocean a little bit, and there is another one. I think one of the middle one there does quite a way as well. So I'm wondering if there might be one of two reasons for this. The first one is that maybe this is still counted as the mushroom biome. You can see some patches of water there that are purple, so that means the biome extends out into the ocean a little bit. So maybe I've been lucky. You can see it better on that little island there, and I know that a section of it between the mainland and that island, no mobs, no drowned ever spawn in there. So there is that. But the other reason might be that all the drowned that are in there are taking up the density cap. So I'm a little bit worried that if I do light up the ocean and get rid of the drowned, then potentially mobs could start spawning in these corners. But that's something I'll have to deal with if it happens. And then if we come down here, I've mossified up the walls a little bit. I still really want the mossy stairs because I can see it. There's a line going all the way around with no moss on it, which it's irritating me quite a bit. So I'll get that done when the new blocks come out, and I've done that side as well. And I've started to do the front. We've got the bridge plotted out, so it's going to come out an extra chunk, and then we'll have, nearly fell down there then we'll have that chunk, those chunks free, and then the mob farm there. But I'm going to stop myself from waffling on and sign off before it does end up into a 30-minute episode. But let me know if you do like the talking bits, or you do actually want to see less of them and more action or more stuff done. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, then please do leave a like, and if you want to see more, then please do subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.